All right, today we're going to talk about something that could seriously change how you exist online. It's called UIID, and its latest version, 1.7, is all about this powerful idea called digital sovereignty. So let's dive in and figure out what that actually means for you. So let's just start with a really simple question. Think about all your online accounts, your social media profiles, all that data. Who really owns that stuff? Is it you, or is it the companies whose platforms you're using? Well, the answer? It's not as straightforward as you'd think. And honestly, that's the whole reason something like UIID even exists. And look, the truth is, the way we handle digital identity right now, it's kind of broken. It's scattered all over the place, across dozens of different services, locked away in company databases, and at the end of the day, it's not something we truly control. Think about it. Right now, these big platforms have total centralized control over our data. What this means is you're not really owning your online identity. You're just renting it. That makes you the product. And of course, leaves all your personal info wide open to those massive data breaches we hear about all the time. But what if we could just flip that whole model on its head? What if you could take back control by storing your entire digital identity in your own personal, super secure vault? That's the really powerful idea we're going to dig into today. And that brings us to this core concept: digital sovereignty. It sounds fancy, but it's a simple and honestly a revolutionary idea that you, and only you, should have absolute control over your digital self. No company, no third party. Just you. So, how do we make that happen? Well, that's where UIID comes in. It stands for Universal Integrated Identity Decoupled. And, just like the name says, its whole job is to basically decouple or separate your identity from all those platforms, putting the ownership right back in your hands. And this is the really big shift in thinking. With UID, your identity isn't sitting on some company's server farm somewhere. Nope. It lives in a secure identity vault right on your own device. This is the move from renting your identity to finally owning it. Okay, so now that we get the big picture, let's zoom in on the brand new v1.7 upgrade. And listen, this isn't just some minor update. It's a huge leap forward in making this whole thing way more powerful and way easier for everyone to use. So this update brings 3 major game-changing features to the table. First, a seamless way to bring over your reputation from places like GitHub. Second, a super fast way to share info using QR codes. And third, a complete redesign to make the whole thing just feel better. Okay, first up, GitHub migration. Now, this is a really smart feature. Why? Because it builds a bridge between the web we use today, Web 2, and this new user-owned model, which some are calling Web 4. It lets you take all that reputation you've spent years building up, all your contributions and credibility, and pull it into your own sovereign identity. All right, now let's talk about sharing your info. UID has this really clever 2-part system. You've got your private verified core ID, that's just for you, but then you can create these public aliases for different parts of your life. One for work, one for gaming, whatever. And this new update makes sharing info from those aliases super, super simple. Yeah, the whole goal here is what they call instant information exchange. With version 1.7, you can create a unique QR code for any of your aliases. Somebody scans it, and boom, they instantly get only the public info you decided to share. It's quick, it's secure, and you never have to give away your core identity. And last but not least, the whole app has gotten a complete makeover. And we're not just talking about a fresh coat of paint here. The new, cleaner interface just makes managing your identity vault and all your different aliases way more intuitive. And you know what? Better usability means you have better control. Simple as that. Okay, so those are the big new features in v1.7. But what makes this whole system something you can actually trust? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the core principles UID is built on. The whole thing really stands on 4 main pillars. First, user control. Your identity is in your vault. End of story. Second, privacy by design, which means your sensitive personal info never, ever touches a public ledger. Third is portability. You're never locked into one service. And finally, and this is a big one, it manages to unify anonymity and trust. It lets you decide how you show up in any situation. So, when you put all these pieces together, you start to see that this is about more than just one app. It really points toward a massive shift in how we interact with the internet, a future that's both way easier and a whole lot more secure. The web is always evolving. We're moving away from that model where we are the product and into a new phase. Some people are calling it Web 4, where the user is finally the owner. And right at the heart of this change is a solution to one of the internet's oldest problems. How can you be anonymous when you want to be, but totally trustworthy when you need to be? UID gives us the framework to finally do both. And all of this leads to the ultimate payoff. In a world where you control your own identity vault, the need for dozens of different, weak, vulnerable passwords, it just disappears. You can get into everything with your one secure UID. Passwords as we know them just become obsolete. So, what's the big takeaway here? This technology is way more than just another app. It's a fundamental shift in power, putting it right back into the hands of the individual. So the only real question left is, are you ready to own your digital future?